Hi, my name is Peter Drake. I'm an architect. I'm also a plans examiner for the city of Portland. The department I work for is BDS, not BES, where Tom and Dave work for. You'll find that I'm not as eloquent of a speaker as Dave and Tom, and I think when I get done, you will all be convinced. So anyway, let's get going here. First of all, we're going to talk about commercial buildings. After that, I'll tell you what information is needed for plan submission, and talk a little bit about inspections. Then after that, we're going to talk about what the difference is between that and residential. There we go. Okay, Portland City Title 2485. This was something that we didn't talk about at the presentation that we did about this last early spring. There is a city policy. It's called Title 24, and it's called Seismic Design Requirements for Existing Buildings. In that, it talks about when a seismic upgrade is necessary. And basically, when the structural alteration to an existing building or its structural elements increase the seismic forces in any structural element by more than 5%, the building needs to go through a seismic upgrade. This would be done through the work of an Oregon registered engineer, and they would need to provide calcs and the necessary drawings necessary to show us what work needs to happen. What is the deal with that? There we go. There's another thing in Title 2485 that talks about unreinforced masonry bearing wall buildings. There's a lot of these around town, and usually these are like buildings that are either made of concrete block or unreinforced brick. There's a whole bunch of clay tile buildings out there too. Usually, you will see these types of buildings that have a bowstring truss. That's the truss that's got a flat bottom chord and a big arch top. If you ever try to do a seismic upgrade on those, all I can say is good luck, because they just do not calc out. I have examples here of what URM buildings are. Also, if you're unsure of if a building that you are looking at is a URM, you can talk to one of our structural engineers, and they've got they have compiled a list of all the known URM buildings in town. A URM building is any building that has at least one unreinforced masonry wall in it. When any building, alteration, or repair occur to an URM, all seismic hazards shall be mitigated to at least an ASCII 31 improvement standard. You're going to say, what's an ASCII 31? It's about a quarter-inch thick document that the engineer will evaluate the building with, and if there is any inefficiencies in the building found compared to that ASCII 31, those items need to be addressed. Here's another thing that happened with in Title 2485. If 50% of the roof system is repaired or replaced within a 5-year period, the building structural roof system, anchorage, and parapet shall be repaired or rehabilitated such that, at a minimum, the wall anchorage for both in-plane and out-of-plane forces at the roof and parapet shall conform to ASCII 31. And as a side note to that, they will. You don't need to provide in-plane brick shear tests. And of course, the alternate to an ASCII 31 is to do a full-blown OSSC improvement, which would then bring it up to the present code. But since a lot of these old buildings, especially if it's a URM, you would never be able to make those kind of buildings comply. That's why you only need to bring it up to an ASCII 31. There we go. Okay, this is something that came up when we were talking about. Let's say if you can demonstrate that the drainage ability of your roof can be such that you don't need as big of pipes, like what we were talking about last week. You've got this. You have this Ecoroof, and you can demonstrate that it can retain so much water in it, and because of that, you don't need as big of your drainage pipes. Now, since the building code is written the way it is, we have to look at it per what the building code says. So if you wanted to downsize those pipes, you would need to file a building code appeal. The building code will allow alternative methods, but it will only be allowed by the approval of the building official. The way to get approval by the building official is to go through the appeal process. The way that the appeals work is, first of all, you can appeal anything in the building codes. You can even appeal issues regarding Title 2485 too. The code will allow alternative methods, and through the appeal process, you are getting the approval to use that alternative methods. The appeals are picked up down at the Development Service Center at the end of the day, every Friday, and then they are heard the following Wednesday.
So even if BES gives approval for alteration in the storm sewer, it still requires an appeal through the building department.
Correct. Thanks. Okay, in the appeals, you need to cite what code section you are appealing. You need to describe the alternative method. Then you need to describe how that alternative method meets the intent of the code. And appeals cost $100 for residential projects, $200 for commercial projects. One appeal can have up to four items for that cost. There is no guarantee that the appeal will be granted. I just want to make that very, very clear. We've had some people say, "Well, gee, the appeal wasn't granted. Can I have my $200 back?" Sorry.
Has there been any appeals applied for that were approved by BES that have not been approved by the building department?
I'm not aware of any. I also wanted to comment that somebody earlier today was commenting about using a gray water system for irrigation. That also would be something that needs to be appealed.